Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's edition is my experience and my music with Dave Angel. I always do that. I always look around and see what I have to prepare, see what I have in front of me, remind myself, drink my coffee, wake up in the morning. I usually do these videos early in the morning, so if sometimes I don't feel all the way awake, that's because I'm not all the way awake. So yeah, today's video is about Dave Angel. Dave Angel is a UK producer of techno. Started out in the late '80s, as far as I know. I believe he started out as a drummer. I think I want to say one of his parents was really into music, and so he got into music very early. Started drumming. He had an underground hit on I think it was '89 or '90. Did a cover of "Sweet Dreams" by by Eurythmics, and it kind of turned into an underground hit. And from then on, he's had a really strong career, and most of the music that I like of his is in the '90s, of course. But I mean, he's a world-renowned DJ. It tends to spin faster techno. Like a lot of his techno is in the 128 to 135, 137 range. He's definitely got that '90s vibe, very tribal. But coming from being a drummer, he's got this um, intricate way of doing his drumming that really stuck out. And then on top of that, he did some really nice. He'd always do some really nice, catchy melodies, and his balance of house music and techno music within techno music was excellent for the time. I mean, in '91, '92, '93, obviously rave music was at its peak, especially in America. Excuse me, especially in UK, and the rave sound in 1991, '92, '93 was very. We almost consider it rave music. Like there's some energy in the sampling they used, and a lot of things about a rave music that I almost give it like its own category, and I don't do that lightly, because they all do have their own really probably more exact genres, like techno or hardcore or early jungle or this is a little bit before happy hardcore, or even really drum and bass, because it's really just jungle. Of course, then you had new beat music, you had early trance. Of course, house music was all in through there. So you had a lot of, especially when you consider like rave music was like a blend of techno, hardcore, jungle. They were all kind of blended in, and it was great music for the time. And I consider it rave. I call it rave music because it's got that rave sound. It's like, I'm not even talking about like the Hoover sound and the obvious sounds that you consider of rave, and the classics and things like that. It's just there's a certain raw energy, and it was really made to just kind of trip people out and wow them, and just go all out, and using samples and sampling and using strange samples from movies and stuff like that, and just the energy is very rave. And so, as good as that was, everything kind of has a peak, and then something kind of comes out of that. And by the time it was '90, probably '92, '93, I mean, I don't have the experience because I'm not in the UK and Europe and stuff, but I would imagine a lot of people were getting a little tired of that sound, and some new genres spawned out of that, right? So then you had drum and bass. Some of it went a little bit more towards, because there's a lot of piano hardcore tunes and hardcore tunes, and that sort of split off, and jungle became drum and bass, and jungle still came on. Then happy hardcore came out of hardcore, and then techno got a little bit more linear and deeper, and trance maybe got a little more popular then, because it was kind of gaining steam. House music kind of stayed in its thing. But I'm sure in a way, like a lot of early '80s with like ambient house, and it house got a little bit more influenced by techno, I would even say, and it got a little bit faster and mixed with disco and I mean, it just kind of evolved in its own way in different ways as well. But people were looking for techno that was a little bit more intelligent, and I say that with a grain of salt, but it's not just energy and rhythm and stuff. And I will preface by saying that Jeff Mills said it the best, and we used to kind of I think every generation kind of has their superstars DJs that they kind of joke around and kind of make fun of too in some of their maybe constrictive or overblown music that they play. You think of like Oakenfold and stuff with his, I'm not even talking about like certain antics they do, but just the genre that they play kind of becomes, I don't know, kind of been there, done that. And it's funny how it comes back and then it's like, doesn't seem so bad now, does it? But, I mean, it's when you're the really popular genre and you're in that DJ, you just you do get some criticism for playing kind of samey music. It's kind of boring music, maybe not the best or most challenging of that genre when you were considered, a top person and you have that opportunity to push different genres and push it forward. And, Jeff Mills certainly got a lot of that, in the early 2000s and stuff, but, just being generally formulaic techno, and but it was his brand of sci-fi techno, and maybe he was lumped in too much minimal. And Richie Hawtin's a good example of a person who got a lot of slack because they just kind of played boring minimal. But there was a time there where it was really good, and then maybe it just got overblown, too many people doing it. But there's good and bad in really most genres. I mean, if you're open-minded, I would think. And I say that, and I'm sure there's some dubstep out there that I like, but and EDM, I just kind of give a term because it's just kind of cheesy electronic music, and it doesn't really make me think or it doesn't move me or it doesn't give me any kind of emotion. It's just, every generation will have that kind of maybe mindless music for, just raving or partying and stuff like that, and that's not bad. And maybe that's dubstep and EDM for the last 20 years, but it just doesn't move me. It's not powerful. It's not moody. It's not melodic. It's not technical. It's not, what I mean? It's just kind of processed sounds made into a song, and it doesn't really. And I could go into all days where I think a lot of that is because of how they make the music. I've mentioned that probably before. But people were looking for a little bit more music that had more in depth and that could move you on a different plane and would hit you a little bit harder and stuff like that, and a little bit more emotional. And certainly the IDM, intelligent dance music kind of scene, came out of that, and also just a different future of techno. And really that was kind of the fork in the road where techno was either going to become staying rave or it was going to evolve into be more. And when you think of like the second wave to Detroit techno in maybe 92, 93, and like Dave Angel was doing, and a lot of great producers came out of that time and kind of took that techno and made it into their own. I think of like Luke Slater is a good example. Whether you like his music now or not, which I don't necessarily care for, in the early 90s and through the 90s, and his stuff, his Planetary Assault System, was really strong, and some of the Assault System stuff is still pretty good because he's keeping it in the vein, but stuff on there Luke Slater I don't generally like anymore. But yeah, it's just, so people were getting a little tired of rave music and the cheesiness of it, and I'm sure you've seen videos of it with the Mickey Mouse gloves and the big pants and the insane dancing and the energy and stuff like that, and it was great for the time. But I'm sure they were looking for a little bit deeper. And as much as a lot of people look back on that time and think they were great party time and stuff, a lot of that music didn't get the resurgence that it should have. It kind of got passed maybe like 10, 15 years ago in some ways because that music wasn't, I'm not saying all the music, but I'm saying a lot of the, excuse me, rave energy music was just of that time, and it just, I mean, there's some stuff that's nostalgic and kind of brings back that, but not if you know rave in 91, 92, and then, like nobody's making Hoover sounds anymore, and making those type of quadrophenia, huge Belgian doom tracks. I mean, I've heard a little bit of nostalgia with it now, but they're mixing it with other styles to try to make it relevant, and some of it kind of works, but nothing like in those days with the Mickey Mouse gloves and the full on rave hardcore, and I mean that stuff is timeless to a lot of people, and I certainly like but I don't think it had enough depth to entertain or really grab people's attention that aren't necessarily even electronic music, but even the ones that are older like me and that kind of went through it. So Dave Angel was a great example of somebody who kind of took what was going on and fused his own sound through that, and I know a lot of Dave Angel stuff, but I mean his stuff is you can pick out his drum production, his remixes, like that. I mean he just has this kind of pattern of doing his drum machines that's just instantly recognizable for me, and and so just kind of looking at some of his music. These are in basically no order. This is one of his. I think this is either a double album or full album. I think it's a full album, Handle with Care. I think this came out in '95. Yeah, '95. So he started out on R&S Records, had some really success, and I'll show you. He had some really successful and strong releases on R&S Records, and I believe he had a couple on Apollo, the sub-label, and then he ended up, going to making his own label, Rotation. I think this one's actually on a different label. This is on Blunted Vinyl, which he had a couple releases on in probably in between R&S and making his own. Well, even though he made Rotation in '93, Blunted was also a label he went on, but it turned into, mostly he would be on Rotation after, maybe like '95. But again, he still had some of his the bigger releases, bigger albums on bigger labels, and here's on Blunted Vinyl. This is a really good. This is one of his stronger, bigger albums. It has a couple remixes by Carl Craig on here, which are iconic. Of course, the Airborne, the Drums Suck mix. It's a 12-minute version. Again, of Airborne, Carl Craig did an amazing remix. He also did a remix of Take Off. Shuffle is really strong on here. That's those three tracks are on the first and second side. And these are at 45 on this particular record. So this is actually more like an EP because it's one, two. Actually, it's only three, 4, 5. Only 6 songs on here, but they're long. I mean, some of them they're all over 5 minutes. One's 12 minutes. One's 7 minutes. So it's a fairly long EP, but not considering, because a lot of EPs I consider 5 to 8 tracks sometimes, and some people will say mini albums, and I could dispute that all day, but because there's some fine things in there, and it depends on the genre too. But I think with techno, this is the DJ's record right here. You got a double record, and they're at 45 RPMs and one song per track. Like, this was made for DJs right here. And it says promotional only, so I guess this might be a promotional copy, even though it has the full artwork. But I think this sticker is unique to this. It's kind of the info sticker. But on the other record, Bump, is his super hooky track. Also, Bebop is really good, and then the original version of Airborne, the Dave Angel mix of his own track. So, really good record here. I've been a big collector of Dave Angel for a long time. I haven't bought any of his stuff since the 90s. I mean, these are all, 90s stuff that I'm showing you. Here's one of his probably more famous records, Tales of the Unexpected, and this is basically, the main version of that, where that one's sort of the this is sort of the album, and then that one sort of became the sort of a double EP almost, extras, but because like bebop's on this one, but it's got 3 tracks on one side, which is kind of rare. I mean, there's 2 sides of the 4 here that have 3 tracks, but generally these days, unless it's really an album like this, it's going to be at least at the most 2 tracks, and it's kind of rare to see 3 tracks on one side. But Arabian Nights on the first track, on the first side, really great track. My favorite track on here is Big Tight Flares. If you know, you know. That track is so hooky. Unfortunately, it's a lot of Dave Angel stuff is in the 130 BPM, so it's hard to play with slowed down, and it'll lose the key of a track like Big Tight Flares. So as much as I like to DJ it, it's a hard track to DJ because in the BPMs, it's such a happy track. It's hard to fit it into some better 135 BPM techno or trance just because of how it is. But it's such a great track. And then on the second side, Timeless is one of his best house tracks. If you know that one, you know. Scatman's okay. Over Here's okay. Bump is really good. Again, that was on the other one. Bebop. Rudiments is a really strong B-side. They put it on here, but it's also on the single. So strong collection here, really strong. Starts off killer though. First three tracks, man. Arabian Nights, Big Tight Flares, and Timeless. Whew, that's like a full album's worth of music right there. You got a great long opener, a perfect poppy kind of house trance song, a house song in Big Tight Flares, and Timeless, just a uplifting, a little bit moody, but just a memorable melody and house track. Just amazing. That's just why I'm on it. Here's the Timeless EP. So it has a remix on it. It has Rudiments on there, and then an extra track called Fever, and then the original version of Timeless. I don't remember the remix too much, and it's probably because I like the main version so much. But if I see something by Dave Angel in the 90s, I always would buy it. Here's one of his first ones on Rotation. Such a great label, and that's kind of the logo, and they changed colors on them. But yeah, Rotation. So Rotation was his own label. He started in '93. This one's Royal Techno. I guess I should do it like that and be one of those persons that helps with the Zoom, but not really, right? Guess I'll not do that anymore. Anyway, Royal Techno EP, Rotation, Nocturne, Kookaburra, Running Man, just a really strong 4-tracker, Royal Techno EP. And I wonder if he named that because of being from UK, kind of the royal, the king and queen family, kind of having that, kind of a joke on being royal and stuff like that, and the popular politics and stuff like that. But really cool track, a really cool EP. I mean, every one of those tracks is a winner in its own way. One of my favorite on that is just think of the almost done by the colors, right? Maybe I'll try this again here. Dave Angel, Sea of Tranquility. Wow, one of his best ones here. Lagoon, amazing. And then you got Abyss on the second side is great too. Also Jellyfish and Shallow Waters. This one needs to be repressed, and a a lot of these Dave Angels still haven't been repressed. No, they don't go for a lot of money, so it's so I think the only one he's reissued in the last couple of years was I'm blanking on the name, but I have it over here, so when I get to it. But really, really great track. Original Man is the track. Yeah, I mean, this one was. I mean, he was off to a great start with these two. I think these were two of his first three, or two of his first two on the label, on rotation that he did. Very strong. Here's the amazing Apollo label. Always recognize it by the A for Apollo. Such a great label. And he was on the early ones, being from R&S. So he put a little bit of his deeper stuff on here. So this is the Family EP. This one's kind of jazzy, ambient, kind of techno. It's got Great Dane on here, Brother from Jazz, and then Patrice. So, Apollo Records, one of my all-time favorite labels. I mean, a lot of times when I say there's not a bad record on a label, maybe I might over-exaggerate a little bit, and there might be like one or two, like if I really think about it, but I'm just like, oh, this is an amazing label, I love it, everyone, but this Apollo is one of those that doesn't have a bad record on it. I can't think of, and Apollo went all the way to from 92 to about 2000, and they sort of relaunched in 2007 and have been out there now. So I will say, okay, so to be fair, the original first 7 years of Apollo had no bad records, and that even went into they started to expand their sound a little bit into I don't want to say drum and bass, but a little bit more down tempo and stuff like that. But not a bad record on here. Now, since they've been out, they restarted pressing vinyl and stuff like that, which I think was around maybe 2012 or something like that. But I do have one CD where it was sort of a best of Apollo, and that sort of signaled they were going to restart again. I think that was 2007 or something like that. But I'm not accurate at all on this, but if I was to guess, I would probably think Apollo's probably put out 30 or 40 records, somewhere definitely over 20, if not 30 records, and I may have bought maybe 3 or 4. But some of the producers on there that I feel like. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to dig a little bit more to give a really accurate description, but I'm not really super jazzed by the artists that are on there. I feel like, man, with Apollo and the discography they made in the '90s, this should be a little bit higher level of more towards what it was, which is more ambient techno, and not so much just melodic techno. And I say that with a grain of salt because it's not really you would think melodic techno. It's still in that vein, but if you really like it, it's not in that vein at all, really. Here's probably one of his strongest ones. It's hard to not say this isn't his best. His best single, The Third Voyage. Man, amazing. So probably one of my top 5 tracks of his, maybe even top 3. Fallen Destiny, if you know, you know. Great track. Endless Emotions, another top 20 track by him. Freelo, probably in my top 25 of his favorite tracks. Like this, look at this. Big shout outs and respects to CJ Bullen, Carl Craig, Juan Atkins, Derek May. I mean, he took their sound and amped it up and did a great job. It's really the UK version of Detroit techno right here. I mean, I can see why he tragically in Tenerife, 1990. No, that can't be the airplane crash of Tenerife. It says, and my best to John Paul, Fallen Destiny, dedicated to a dear friend who died tragically in Tenerife, 1990. Tenerife airplane accident. I think it was a little earlier in the 80s, but it must have been something not related to that. But whenever I think of Tenerife, I think of that airplane accident. Yeah, I mean, this is an amazing track. And I probably should have had my top 25 tracks here. So I could have named them off, but maybe I'll just copy and eventually I'll just copy and paste and put it in the notes of the video here eventually when I get around to it. But yeah, amazing record. Here's actually his first on RNS. This is the first voyage. This one's he's still coming out of the rave era a little bit. These are a little bit darker, a little bit more Belgian techno. Of course, RNS is going to be more techno than Apollo, but as he was on later. But Poison, Velocity, Planet Function, Mesmerize. This is as ravey as Angel got, and these are some bangers. This is quintessential Belgian techno right here, like that sound. Netherlands techno. Belgium had its own sound. Belgium was the hot spot. Everybody thinks of like Germany, and sure enough, Germany and UK and a lot of the great cities in America. Detroit, Chicago, New York, but Belgium, man, the sound of Belgium in the early '90s fueled techno so much. I mean, they had all the Technotronic was from Belgium. Some of the biggest rave tunes were probably 8 times out of 10 out of Belgium in like 90, 91, 92. Like, I mean, Belgium was killing it. And if there was any that's funny. All tracks programmed by C.J. Boland. Additional programs by Dave Angel. So this Angel, I wonder if this is. I've never really noticed that, but yeah, it's produced by C.J. and Dave Angel. I never knew that. I always thought Angel, well, that makes sense. It's the only one called Angel. But this is C.J. Boland and Dave Angel, and that might make sense why these are a little bit more harder, and a little bit less melodic. But again, this is early. This is 92. But if there's any country that I would like to go record shopping in, I'm sure it's diluted now. But man, if I was record shopping in the 90s, I would love to go to Belgium. Man, that would have just amazing. I guess I'll go with In-Flight Entertainment. Here's one of his later double albums, a couple of years later. I think this one's 90. Well, actually, it's 94. I thought it was 95 or 96, but this has the original Airborne on here. It also has Takeoff, Keeping On, and Arrival. Really cool artwork here. Don't hit your head on the front seat. Cool artwork. In-Flight Entertainment. Really cool. And it's nice these tracks all on. I mean, Dave Angel was a DJ. He knew. He's like, I'm going to get my shit played by other people. 1 track per side in a double record. Some people might think that's, really not enough for the vinyl, but I mean, these are DJ records. These are meant to be played out. Sorry, put that over here, but a strong record there. Here's Dave Angel. I want to say this is A Stairway to Heaven. Cool artwork. Bounce Back is a classic Dave Angel track. Again, this is probably, I think, his second after Angel. This is probably one of his most highly regarded ones. I mean, it's just got Sighting is a quintessential track, Belgian early trance techno track, dark and mysterious and spooky and just super cool melody. It just has that kind of like Twilight Zone. It's such a great melody, and it's got Jungle Love on there. But Trip to Darkness and Sighting. Oh, sorry, Trip to Darkness is the one that's really super dark. Sighting is the one that's a little bit faster. Trip to Darkness, great track. That's my favorite on here. Bounce Back, that's one of his classic ones as well. Very catchy, unique kind of drum rhythm for the time. Very cool. Here's actually one of Dave Angel's later ones. I think I just there was a time when in Dave Angel in the later '90s, early 2000s that he kind of got into kind of a loopy techno and kind of lost his melody and for me it kind of spelled the end of his style of me buying it. And at the same time he kind of really stopped producing around that time too. But this is one of his later ones, the Knockout EP. This is one of the later ones on rotation. They sort of evolved the label by a little bit later. This is probably like 90, 98, 99 or something like that. I don't, I got this because I'm a completist. Dave Angel stuff. It's probably the only record that I don't regularly play. It's not that it's bad, but just kind of lacking some melody, but still a decent techno track. It's not horrible at all. Here's one of his singles from his Globetrotting album, Tokyo Stealth Fighter. This is the Dave Clark remix. This is obviously a very popular DJ, electro DJ and techno. And then you have the Slam remix, which is probably one of the all-time most popular techno artists out of Scotland. Slam. So by '90, this is in '97, right? Yeah, this is on Island Records. So that's how big he was. He's on Island Records in '97. It's got Slam and Dave Clark remixing his stuff. Oh man, he was on a roll then. These are all over the course of like 5 years. All these releases, just on a roll. I feel like I'm missing one track. I feel like I'm missing one record, Second Voyage, and it might be in one of my other bins. Yeah, I feel like I'm missing Second Voyage. Try to remember what's on Second Voyage. Anyways, this is the 100th Symphony. This is actually the first Dave Angel track I heard in I think it was '93. Yeah, I first heard First Symphony on the Universe Compilations, the purple one with the spaceship on it. A lot of people know that label. It's a very influential compilation for the time. It used to be on Moonshine Records when Moonshine Records it's like number 3 in their catalog. It's very super early. In fact, the logo on it it's not even the regular Moonshine logo. It's like the original one that they used only for the first like 5 or 6 releases before they changed it, because it was a horrible logo. But it was the early logo. But First Symphony, Second Symphony, Third Symphony, Fourth Symphony. This was on FNAC, which is French, the French division. Of course, Laurent Garnier had a big hand in FNAC, and then launched FCOM right after. But this is in the dance division of FNAC, which I'm trying to remember what it stands for. France. I can't remember. Thanks to Laurent Garnier. Yeah. But man, look at it. Back in the day, $8.49 for this record. $8.49 for this record, brand new. But yeah, this is the first Dave Angel track I have. This always had a special place in my heart. This is the First Symphony. Was the track that I heard on the Universe compilation. Just a great melody, great opening, and then a nice little tight 4 or 5 minute track. It's like right at 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes even. About 30 seconds of melody, so it's really tight, concise track. Really cool drum rhythm, quintessential Dave Angel rhythm track. Just an amazing track. Here's the Globetrotting CD. He had a few singles out here. Of course, I showed you the Tokyo Stealth Fighter. I think Funk Music and was another single, and maybe This Is Disco. But he had Jeff Mills, remixing his stuff. I think Jeff Mills remixed This Is Disco. But this is made in England here. This is the England import. Basically, all these tracks are for the most part, they're named after clubs, after famous clubs and cities. So you have Philly Blunt's Funk Music Club Hell, which I'm assuming is DJ Hell's club. Sensor in Zurich, K Road, New Zealand. This is disco. Liquid Rooms, which is in Japan, which is famous for the Jeff Mills Liquid Room. Emerald City in Chicago. But solid album. But this is kind of the spelling the end of his good period for me. Tokyo Style Fighter is a really good track. I really like Liquid Rooms as well. Censor, Funk Music, and Philly Blunts are okay. But some of the other tracks are, this is Disco, Club Hell, Emerald City, just kind of missing. So catchy, but it's kind of missing the moody melodies and stuff like that. Maybe this is more towards it's called globetrotting, so it's more of a probably for DJs and stuff like that. He's kind of getting out. Maybe he feels like he's done those melodies before and feel like he's moving on to and that's what techno was, kind of moving on to the late '90s. There was a couple scenes in after the middle '90s, and it was kind of the end of the dark warehouse ravey days in America for sure. But then also it was getting a little bit more. Minimal was definitely affecting. So you had that losing control DBX sound and higher state of consciousness. Like those sounds. It was getting a little bit more minimal, still darker, but still, almost going to the loopy phase in the late '90s, maybe like 2000 and stuff like that. But really kind of unique CD, kind of folds out of cardboard and then has the CD plus. Kind of cool. It's the only one I've ever seen like that. Very cool. Not a bad album. Here's Dave Angel's X-Mix, which is a very. I also have this on DVD as well, but this is the CD. I do need to get around to getting this on the. There's a couple of these I have on the 4-disc record, and I have it on. I have these on DVD as well. This is probably the one I would want the most, but over the years I've kind of got them. I never came across one, so I've kind of got them on different stuff. So when you look at the track, I have so many tracks on this. This EP, this mix was just like of all the X mixes, this and Laurent Garnier's I feel are the best ones, and you could argue all day with me, but I like melody. I'm trying to think of what most people would say is the best one. I would probably say Laurent Garnier is probably the underground favorite on that, but probably maybe some people will say Richie Hawtin one or Dave Clark or something like that, or probably maybe even Hard Floor. But I think Laurent Garnier's would be up there, and Dave Angel's would be up there as well. Probably the top, at least the top 4. But this one is just amazing. You're talking about Ross 154 on Evolute. Opening track, Mayflower. I ended up getting that reissue that came out recently. YS, Magic Dome on Sublime. I believe that's a Kenichi track. I do have that one up there on CD. Stronghold by BC, which was Cisco Ferreira and Robert Lanier. Amazing track. I do have an original version of that. That was on ITP Records, which is ITP Records. If you don't know, check out ITP Records, a very underground, really strong techno trance label. Ches Damiers on the track 4 with Help Myself. Oh man, whew, what a burner that is. But just those 4 tracks, from an Evolute track to a Japanese techno track to a great Swedish, electro industrial techno track in Stronghold, and then to a house and techno track, Help Myself, which is so catchy. And then it goes into classic Soul Train, a Soul Man by Kenny Larkin, and then into Entrance, Dave Angel's remix of Sun Electric. Entrance is in my top 3 of. If I was to name top 3 track, I could do it right now. Actually, it's that remix. It's not Lagoon. And it's not endless. It's sometimes that's hard when you think of the melodies. Fallen Destiny, Entrance, Dave Angel's remix, and Original Man. And yeah. So I don't have my Original Man record over here. I know where it is though. It's. I have the original on Aura. Um, they reissued it as well. I have it up. In fact, just a couple weeks ago I put it up just so I could show it because I love that record so much. Yeah, then you got a track on Peace Frog from St. Vitus Dance, which is Hope Grant, aka Envoy, Mystic Vibrations. Then there's Artec on there from Dave Angel, Josh Wink, Liquid Summer's a classic track off of Ovum, off his label. Another Peace track from Dan Curtin, actually 2 in a row from Dan Curtin. His Paul Hazel, his tracks on his own rotation label. Ian Pooley with Twin Gods closes out. There's also Sunrise Society on Pacific, which, if you guys know Pacific, was a really strong underground label. Wow, what a every track. I mean, this is how good that music was coming out in 93 and 94. I mean, God, and he nailed it on this. I mean, you're talking about some of the best melodic ambient. This is quintessential ambient techno right here. I mean, and it goes with the artwork. Celestial, beautiful. I mean, that was, oh man, it's just amazing. Yeah, I mean, just an amazing CD right here. This has to be my all-time, and that's why another reason why Dave Angel is so heavily regarded. But I mean, he made one of the best mixes of all time, and I'm just realizing now how much I love this. You know, when you just compare it to other stuff. I mean, this has to be in my top 5 mixes of all time. It's just, and that Laura Garnier one is probably in there too. I mean, that's how strong and influential these X mixes were. I have them all on DVD. I think they came out in like 2004 or something. They put them all 4 of them on DVD. The 3 X mixes and then the X Lux, which was the ambient. The ambient one, but man, David Angel was so highly regarded then. Another one. Here's his classics. So this, it's funny. I told the story earlier, but in 2006, Tower Records was closing, and Tower Records must have had some sort of deal with Distance Records at the time. Distance Records was a I want to say Distance Records was either French. It could have been Belgian. I don't think it was UK or German. But anyways, they started in the early 90s and they did a lot of Goa trance. For those that like Goa trance, I mean, they did Universal Electric Universe. They did, I want to say, Astral Projections was on Distance. A lot of the Distance to Goa compilations were on. I can see quite a few of them. I have it actually right over there. Distance to Goa compilations were super popular on Distance. But even Distance put out a couple of Larry Heard CDs and even some Detroit techno with Frequency and Sean Deason and Kay Hand and Kelly Hand. And, so just, they were all kind of over the map when it comes to, but most of them, I would say most of them, they were on other labels as well. Some of them were released on other labels as well. So I think Substance was a sub-label of Distance. A lot of times they had both on the same, both logo or both name on the releases. So I don't know if Substance was released, it was distribution in UK or what have you, but I don't know why I'm holding up 2 of these. But there was a time when I had like 10 of these was what I was getting to, because I don't know if Tower Records had some sort of distributing deal with Distance, but I was saying before, when Tower Records was going out of business, You would come in there like every week or every other day, and there was 3 Tower Records around me at the time when I was in Virginia. There was one in Falls Church. There was one in there was one in Tyson's Corner. There was one in Fairfax, and then there was one um, uh, over more towards Alexandria. And man, I used to visit them all the time. And when Tower Records was going out of business, they were just, I mean, they were just, I don't even know how they got around until they probably just had employees going around marking down stickers all day. Because every day or every week you'd go in there for like the last 2-3 months, you'd see sticker upon sticker upon sticker upon sticker upon sticker. And it was like 15% off, then it was like 30% off, then it was like 50% off, then it was like 70% off, then it was like 90% off. So there was a time when I had about 10 of these, and I sold the other ones online. When I got down to 2, I stopped selling them. Um, but yeah, I got so many of those, so I probably got these for less than $1 each. Um, this one must be my original one because I have some. A lot of times back in the days, I would mark which ones when I was. This is back in like '99, 2000 when I was DJing with CDs a lot, because vinyl was kind of going out in some of the clubs. Like you would mix on CDs, so I'd put like marks. You can see a lot of the ones I DJ'd with. Like for example here, like I would put marks next to the tracks that I like, and that would help me pick them. So the ones with pluses, which I said earlier, Liquid Room, those are the ones I like. Tokyo Starfighter, those are the ones I like most, and then the ones with just marks next to them, that's the ones I sort of liked, which was Censor, Funk Music, and Philly Blunts. So I used to do that a lot, and so obviously Fallen Destiny and Endless Motions I have pluses next to, but then Bounce Back, Sighting, Trip to Darkness, Deep Down, Dimension of Drums, all the rest ones I have lines next to them. But yeah, just an amazing. And this basically was RNS Classics, collecting his first, I think either 3 or 4. Yeah, first 4, right, first 4 EPs on RNS, collecting them all. This also came out in vinyl, which was a really strong collection to get, and you can still get those for very inexpensive, either the CD or even probably the record, and get some great techno for pretty inexpensive. Um, but yeah, I mean, Dave Angel just an amazing producer. I wish I had I'm missing a couple records here. I can tell my second voyage, I think, which actually my second voyage might be straight. Highway to or Straight Way to Heaven. But I know I'm missing my original man, and I wish I had that here so I could close out the video because that's one of my all-time favorites. But yeah, geez, I just remembered. So original man's probably. If I had to put that original man on my top 3, then it would probably have to be number 4. So top 4 songs right there: Fallen Destiny, his remix to Entrance, Original Man, and now I'm blanking on the other one. Maybe First Symphony? Ooh, man, it's tough. Abyss is right there too, and Artec. Those are great songs. Man, so many good songs. Bump is right there, and Big Tight Flares and Airborne. So many good songs, yeah, so many good songs. But man, all those are the course of about 6 years, 5-6 years. He did all those. I mean, he was killing it, and he's still DJing out today. I want to say he started back up the Rotation records. He started doing records in 2006. A few of them are on my want list. I haven't got around to checking them yet. Actually, I think I did check his first 2, 2006, 2007. I wasn't really too impressed. But it was nice to see him actually coming back and doing some music. But hopefully I'll run into some music in the 2000s and newer that he likes. I don't necessarily know what he's doing right now, but I have seen him DJ out a couple times online. It's refreshing to see because he's still sticking in that 90s techno mode and playing some of the stuff that he used to play in the 90s, which is cool for us old schoolers. But yeah, that's my Dave Angel video. Wow, 50 minutes of Dave Angel. I guess a lot of that is me going off on techno genre tangent, like I do a lot. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video on Dave Angel. If you know Dave Angel, what are your top 3 tracks for Dave Angel? And if you don't know Dave Angel and you want to check out his music, well, first check out Fallen Destiny. I mean, an original man. His remix of Sun Electric, Entrance. The track is called Entrance. Maybe check out his track Abyss or Artech, Artech. Maybe Big Tide Flares. Track called Airborne with an E at the end. Those are some of Tokyo Stealth Fighters, another one. Tell me what you think and see if you like any of those tracks. If you didn't know, I'd be curious. That's my intention here is to share people's music, and it would mean a lot if you didn't know a certain track or didn't know about an artist I talk about, and you you go check them out and you like them. It would make my day if I turned you on to some new song or a new artist. That'd be super cool. That's what I'm here for. So thanks for checking into Electric Cafe today. Have a good day. Have a good rest of your day.